Welcome. Today we are going to try another lockdown food that I like. This is fried rice vermicelli or fried beehoon. Now in order to cook fried beehoon, we need of course a beehoon which has been soaking for at least half an hour to make it soft. We also have some prawns. These prawns have been bought frozen, so they can be kept for a very long time. But there's one problem with having frozen prawns. That is, most of these prawns have been wrapped in the fresh water and therefore they lack the taste that you normally get if you buy a fresh prawn from the sea. In order to overcome that, we need to understand a bit about the chemistry of taste or the biology of taste. Okay, the reason we feel that these prawns do not have the taste is because actually it lacks the amount of salt that was there when the prawns were wrapped into the sea, and also some of the food there. Okay, we can't replace some of the food, but we can replace the salt. So the trick to this is to add the salt for the whole beehoon onto the prawns first. Okay, so I'm going to add the salt. So I'm going to add a generous amount of salt. This is the amount of salt is required for all the beehoon, so that after it is cooked, this salt will then come out from the prawn into the beehoon, but some of it will still remain on the prawn. Therefore, the prawn will still have that taste. And I'm going to add some pepper as well. Next, we are going to prepare the eggs. I've used 3 eggs in this case, and that was half a packet of beehoon, which is approximately 200 grams. I'm going to add some light sauce to the eggs. I'm also going to add some pepper. Next, we have some garlic, which I have chopped. We have vegetable. Now you can use any vegetable that you like. Okay, it doesn't have to be, in this case I'm using some kailan. Okay, but you can use any vegetable. And of course you have some oil. In this case I'm using olive oil, but again you can use any of the oil. Now let's proceed to the cooking the beehoon. Now, one of the most important things to understand about cooking beehoon, it is not really the taste that counts, it is the smell. So when you cook a proper beehoon, you want it to have a particular smell. And in order to achieve that, you need to do some things to make that smell. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is actually to cook the eggs. So the eggs are pre-cooked lightly first. Put some oil. And we heat the wok. After the wok is properly heated, we can then add in our beehoon. We can add in our eggs. add eggs. And we just roughly stir the egg. The purpose of this part is to semi-cook the eggs, so that later when we put it into the beehoon, we can actually break it up. So that's enough for the eggs. So that later when you put it in the beehoon, it will all break up and spread evenly throughout the beehoon. And we just pop that out eggs. And now we heat it up to cook the beehoon. To achieve the smell, we are first going to add the garlic. We have added the garlic. You can add any amount of garlic you want. Next, you add the oil onto the garlic. Then you put the oil and the garlic. Now you like to fry this garlic until it is brown. Okay, because that will give it the correct smell that you need. So just keep stirring the one from the side to the center, because the ones at the side will be brown first. As you can see, my garlic is now beginning to turn brown. And you begin to get the smell of the brown garlic. Then after that, you just immediately pour in all the prawns and you stir it. When you stir in the prawns, the garlic will still cook a bit, but it will not be that much, so it's okay. Okay, now the prawns look more or less cooked. We do not need the prawns to be very cooked, because at a later stage it will cook anyway. We want it just to have a slight burn. Now we're going to add all the vegetables. Okay, to this I'm going to add a little bit of light sauce, equivalent of perhaps half a teaspoon. The light sauce now is to make the beehoon have a certain dark color. It also allows me to have a particular taste that I like. As you can see, the broth is now slightly brown. You can also taste the broth at this point in time to determine whether you have added enough of seasoning. It's just nice. Okay, the vegetables are now slightly wilted, so it's enough time for me to put in the beehoon. I add in the beehoon on top, and I spread it. Now next comes the important part of cooking the beehoon as well, because in order to get the smell, you need to cook the beehoon till it is dry and some parts are actually being burnt. So take your time and stir it well until all the parts are burnt. So this is how I normally do it. I stir it to the center. Stir it to the center. Center. At this point of time, it's also time putting the eggs. You can mash up the eggs. So as we stir it, we are actually mixing in all the eggs as well. Okay, if you feel that there's not enough water, you can also add in some water at this time. You can just take a look at your beehoon to see whether it's soft, because sometimes you don't soak it long enough, and if you don't soak it long enough, then it'll be a bit hard at this point of time. So in which case you can just add in some water and continue to cook. That will make it a bit softer. But in this case, the beehoon is just nice, so I'm just going to fry it until it is dry. Now you will notice that the egg has actually broken up and is evenly spread across the beehoon. and we'll leave it to brown. At this point of time, we can still see a lot of smoke coming out, which means there's still a lot of moisture. So we have to be patient to make sure that all this moisture has gone away. Otherwise, it will make the beehoon very soggy, number one. Number two, it also doesn't have that burnt smell that we are looking for where we crave for fried beehoon. Occasionally, we will give it a stir. As you stir this time, I can feel that the beehoon is getting drier. And some of it is actually burnt, you can see. So remember to stir it well. Okay, scoop out from the bottom and then flip it up to the top. At this point of time, we actually don't see a lot of smoke anymore because most of it has been dried. All the moisture has been boiled off. And now we're beginning to smell the smell that we are craving for in the fried beehoon, which is the burnt smell of the beehoon. So we know we are getting to the right point. Now there's totally no water vapor coming out anymore, so we know we have reached the right point. Let me give it one last stir. And there we have it, fried beehoon. And then switch it off, and we are all ready. You can plate the beehoon. And if you wish, you can garnish it with some fried shallots and chili. Let's just put some. And there we have it. Our lockdown food for today is fried beehoon. Thank you.